Hello, everyone. My name is Beatriz Santana, and I'm part of the Portuguese based European Digital Innovation Hub, Attract. Welcome to our webinar series, Five Facets of Generative AI. This series is a joint effort by EDIH Südwestfalen and Attract as part of our ongoing collaboration. At our EDI Attract, our mission is to promote and support the use of artificial intelligence and high performance computing. We focus on training, development, and innovation to improve organizational performance. Over the next few weeks, we will share our AI expertise, highlighting the five key aspects of generative AI that can help companies gain a business edge. Now, I will hand it over to Robert and Louisa, who will introduce today's episode and dive into the content. Thank you so much for joining us.
And once again, a warm welcome to our today's presentation, Generative AI from a Human-Centered Perspective, the role of interaction, trust, and evaluation. As you know, this is the first episode of a bigger webinar series. So we have the first episode, and our whole series will deal with the topic of generative AI. And what we would like to do today is to give an overall overview about the whole topic, and we will especially shed light on human interaction with AI and the role of trust and evaluation. So before I dig a little bit deeper into the agenda, let's maybe introduce ourselves a little bit. I'm presenting today with my colleague Louisa Sauter. She did her master's degree in human-computer interaction and is a research associate of the chair of business informatics of the Institute of Business Informatics at the University of Siegen. We are both working in the European Digital Innovation Hub, and her research interests are AI in knowledge and innovation management. I'm also a research associate at University of Siegen within our EDI project, and my research interest is mainly focusing on additive manufacturing and cross-border collaboration within the EDI project. But today we are talking about artificial intelligence, and we will, present you the aim of the workshop, which is to, as I already said, shed a little bit more light on the human factor dealing with artificial intelligence. So how can we evaluate the results of an AI? And we will therefore also talk about the functionalities and capabilities of generative AI, as well as of the dark sides of it. We will also shed a light on the role of human oversight and agency, where we also have a definition by the European Commission, by the high-level expert group of artificial intelligence. And afterwards, we will talk about concepts of human evaluation, and we will then put it in a nutshell. What does that really mean for companies and also for users of artificial intelligence? Now I would like to give the floor to Louisa. She will explain a little bit more what we are focusing on and how we are now proceeding.
Yeah, thank you, Robert. Good morning also from my side. So like Robert already introduced, the aim of the workshop today is to give you an overview about 4 topics that are important to get an overview of Gen AI, and especially about the human role in using and evaluating it, and also about what is crucial when we consume AI-generated content. So we will start with talking a little bit about the functionalities and the capabilities of Gen AI and how it works. Then we will switch over and introduce you into the dark side of Gen AI and which risks, for example, deepfakes raise and how we should keep an eye on media content we consume. After that, we will talk about the possibilities of human evaluation, and I will give you an example for every evaluation method, and we will talk about pros and cons of them. And in the end of the workshop, we will give you some key takeaways from our workshop today, and we will have a look from kind of 2 perspectives on the interaction of human and AI and which contact points or touch points exist and which opportunities we have to evaluate content. Next slide, Robert. So let me first of all introduce you to the topic of Gen AI. So I think most of you may already know what Gen AI is and maybe even how it works, but we will now talk about it again so that we are on the same page of the topic. So let us have a look on Gen AI first. So Gen AI refers to a class of AI models that are designed to generate especially new content that is based on input data. So this includes, for example, generating text or image and also audio files or programming code. And we can say that these AI models learn patterns, structures, or relationships from different training data, and then use this training data to understand and produce new output. So then we can say that Gen AI, no, you still stay on the slide before, sorry. Then we can say that Gen AI has 4 key characteristics. So the first is creativity. We put that in quotation marks because this is a hardly discussed topic. But let us first of all say that Gen AI is creative because it has the ability to produce original content that has not been explicitly given. So second is that Gen AI learns from data by learning and underlying patterns and structures, like I already said, in the given data set. And the third characteristic is versatility. That means that it is applicable in various domains, as for example, natural language processing or also computer vision. And at last, we say that Gen AI is interactive. So we see, for example, with the ChatGPT use that Gen AI is often used in applications where interaction with human is required, such as, for example, chatbots, virtual assistants, or also content creation tools. So with these definition and key characteristics in mind, let us now give you an understanding of how Gen AI technically works by talking about the example of ChatGPT. Robert, now you can switch slides.
Yeah, it was my technical mistake when I tried to click on the
Yeah.
microphone. So sorry for that. Yeah, the question is always when we talk about generative AI, how such an AI really works. And therefore, we use the example of ChatGPT to explain more or less a little bit on a technical basis of how this generative AI works. And we will do it here with text processing. So text processing by ChatGPT involves transforming natural language sentences into a format that is understandable by computers and AI systems. Although humans can easily grab or grasp language, computers need a different approach to comprehend it. So, as you can see in the picture on the left, we begin with sentences written in natural language, just like how we communicate with each other. These sentences are a sequence of words that hold meaning for humans, but not for computers, and that is the important thing here. The challenge is the challenge of comprehension. So computers and AI lack inherent understanding of language like humans do. They require a different representation to make sense of the text. Therefore, they convert the text to numbers. To bridge the gap, we translate those specific parts of text into numbers using an alphabet specifically designed for machines. It's called token, and the whole process is called tokenization. So tokens are the building blocks for this numerical representation. Much like letters in our alphabet, tokens are the basic units that form the language and the language that computers can understand. So tokens are more or less combinations of characters that carry specific meanings. And each token represents a word, a part of the word, or for example, a punctuation mark. Tokens are highlighted with distinct colors on the left side so that you can see what a token really is about. The old ChatGPT 3.5 model, for example, contains over 50,000 tokens. Now with ChatGPT 4, we have even more. And this diverse set of tokens enables the model to handle a wide range of linguistic nuances. GPT models, for example, also including ChatGPT, have a maximum limit on the number of tokens they can process in one go, as I already mentioned with that 50,000, but now we have larger quantities. Long texts might exceed the limit, which poses a challenge for processing. So the conclusion is the process of transforming human language into machine understandable tokens is very important for ChatGPT's functionality. Tokenization allows AI systems like ChatGPT to generate responses that mirror human-like communication despite the differences in how they comprehend the language. So when we have a look at the next slide, you can see as a starting point situated at the top left that we have a known source text. This text is the primary input, the foundation upon which AI begins the process of understanding and generation. Directly beneath this source text, there's a transformation that occurs. So as I said, the words, phrases, sentences, and so on are converted into a numerical representation. This numerical representation is the language that the AI uses, and with this data in hand, one might pose the question, what is now the next step for the AI? The answer lies in the power of the algorithms. So the AI employs a series of complex algorithms designed to process various facets of the information. One of such facets is the position of tokens or individual pieces of information within the text. By understanding the position and the relationship between the tokens, the AI can make an informed decision. And the ultimate objective for the AI during this phase is to anticipate the next token in the sequence. So it's all about statistics and predictions. It's a game of prediction where the AI uses its understanding of the context and the patterns it has learned to guess the subsequent piece of the puzzle. And when it successfully generates a token that aligns with the content and its vast training data, the token is integrated into the input. So it isn't a one-off process, it's iterative. The AI continues in a loop, generating a new token, adding it to the sequence, and when using it and then using this extended input to predict the next token. With each cycle, the input grows and it's becoming a more comprehensive piece of the text. Now, when the AI is predicting the next token in a sequence, it doesn't simply choose the token with the highest score or probability. So as you can see on the left here, the word with the highest probability would be learn. And then we have predict with a lower probability and so on. But instead of choosing always the word with the highest probability, the AI often considers also different factors, ensuring that the generated text is coherent, relevant, and appropriate. However, the process doesn't end with the initial generation. There is another layer of quality control. A separate AI, distinct from the one generating the text, is tasked with evaluating the generated content. So it is in the role to judge the quality and relevance of the text, ensuring that it meets certain standards. If this secondary AI deems the text as bad, the content will be flagged for regeneration. But the question always is, what does bad mean in this context? So it's not about grammar or syntax error. Bad refers to the answer that don't align with the desired outcome or specific context in which the AI is operating. So it's about ensuring the AI's responses are not just technically correct, but that the context is also appropriate and useful. However, with all the systems, there are potential pitfalls. One might wonder what could be problematic with such a setup. while we will dig a little bit deeper into specific contexts later, it is essential to approach AI always with a critical mindset. And with that, we are also and always and all right talking about the capabilities of generative AI. So what is an AI able to do, and what can it not do yet? And as we all know, AI has significantly advanced in recent years, enabling machines to perform tasks that normally require human-like intelligence. One of AI's capabilities is pattern recognition. So it can identify patterns in large data sets. It's invaluable in fields like fraud detection, for example, when you think about medical diagnosis, market analysis, and so on. And additionally, AI excels, for example, at decision making based on data and algorithms. So really, when it comes to analytic parts, by analyzing vast amounts of information, AI can make informed decisions, optimize processes, and also predict outcomes with high accuracy. Another remarkable ability of IA is natural language processing. That is what I already talked about when it comes to ChatGPT. So the technology allows us to understand, interpret, and generate human language, enabling applications like chatbots, translation services, and so on. And last but not least, it is also able to recognize and analyze visual data. This includes identifying objects in images, recognizing faces, and other further examples. However, there are some things what AI is not able to do. So it has still its limitations. One significant area where AI falls short is creativity. While AI can generate content based on existing data, it lacks the ability to truly innovate or create original ideas independently. So everything is based on training data, but experts are discussing if we can really call it creativity, what AI is doing here. Additionally, it does not possess emotional intelligence. So it cannot understand or respond to human emotions in a nuanced way, for example. And moreover, AI is not capable of making moral decisions. So ethical considerations and moral judgments are inherently human traits that AI cannot replicate. Lastly, AI lacks self-awareness. So machines do not have consciousness or an understanding of their own existence, which confines them to operating strictly within the parameters set by their programming and data inputs. So when we once again ask about the capabilities of generative AI, we are currently positioned between the stages of learning intelligence and creative intelligence. Learning intelligence refers to the ability of AI to independently acquire new knowledge, while creative intelligence involves the generation of knowledge beyond formal induction and deduction. As I said, the creativity, we have a debate around that in terms when experts discuss with each other, but also beside this advancements, AI has not yet reached the higher stages of conscious intelligence, where an AI would have an awareness of itself and its environment, or even self-conscious intelligence, where the AI would have a deep, reflective understanding of its own existence and operations.
Yeah, we have now seen, and you might maybe already know, that GenAI offers many helpful opportunities. And when we use ChatGPT to generate, for example, a LinkedIn post or to write a creative birthday invitation, we save, of course, a lot of time, especially when we are not good, like me, in finding the right words, or when we simply need a few new ideas or some creative phrases. So, however, using Gen AI also poses dangers, and that should not be underestimated. Gen AI tools are especially easy to access, and this brings not only pros but also many risks with it. So creating false or bad content is just as easy as creating good and valuable content. So if Gen AI is not used with, so to say, a good intention or good intentions, it can be very dangerous. So not only for the people concerned, but also for the general media. I will describe a few specific examples in the next slides. What we basically want to say is, or rather introduce, is that the human role is particularly important at many points when it comes to touch points with AI. And this is not just about the use of AI tools, but also about the evaluation and assessment of content that we consume on a daily basis. So to give you an insight in the dark sides of Gen AI content, I'd like to shortly do a little deep dive into topics like deepfakes. So deepfakes are very good examples for misuse of Gen AI. And deepfakes means that fake content is generated by the use of deep learning technologies. Deepfakes can be generated as, for example, videos, text documents, pictures, or also audio files, like I already said. And the biggest problem is that with the help of open source AI tools, everybody can generate deepfake content very easily because the tools are easy to access and also easy to use. I don't know whether you already know some of these applications, but maybe some of you already tried, for example, the face apps where you can switch faces in a video, or if you know Deep Brain by ChatGPT, where you can create real-time conversational deepfakes with custom virtual avatars. So these applications are actually intended for a good purpose, but they are either intended for fun or the simple creation of video content, but they can also be used for harmful content. And when you see deepfakes of earlier generations, you would see that the quality of those is even bad. They used to have unnatural movements or artificial facial reactions, sudden shifts or shifts in audio quality, and also mismatches in, for example, color or lighting effects. But when you see deepfakes now, they are even better. You can see on the picture on this slide that deepfakes reached a new dimension through generative AI. You can see that they are very realistic and that it is undistinguishable for consumers, or especially for us as end users, and we cannot easily recognize whether the picture is real or fake. Another problem is that deepfakes can be fastly distributed via the internet without any verification whether content is real or fake. And you can imagine that this becomes a big problem in terms of media credibility. Because without any context information or political knowledge in this case, it is nearly impossible to recognize that this picture of Trump is just a fake. Next slide. So here we want to give you an example of why content knowledge and the human evaluation of and assessment is so crucial in consuming media that is AI generated. So these pictures have all the same quality, as you can see, but we directly know that the picture on the left side where Trump is lifting weights is definitely a fake. We directly know that this is not Trump's body and that he would hopefully not post a picture like that in the internet. The picture on the right sides are even more difficult for us to evaluate as a fake. From our political context knowledge, we all know that this is not unlikely that Trump is arrested, only if we have a second, third look on the pictures, we can see some mistakes the AI made. For example, you can see that there's a hand that doesn't belong to anybody on the picture in the middle, or that Trump's sleeve is white instead of gray, like his suit on the right picture. What we want to show is that we definitely need the human evaluation and context knowledge about people or political ongoings to evaluate whether content is real or fake. Next slide, Robert. So we brought a second example from a fake video. I don't know whether you already heard about it. It's about a fake video interview. So Berlin's major Giffey spoke for about half an hour with a fake Vitaly Klitschko in a video interview. And this video was just a copy of an old interview that could be found on YouTube. But it was good enough to be convincing at first glance, because what is important to say is that this was just a shallow fake. Shallow fakes can simply be generated by using basic software. You don't need AI software for this. And in this example, it becomes clear that even simple technology is good enough to be convincing at first glance, and even in a live session video. So if the interview would have been an AI-generated deepfake, it might not have been noticed by the major that this is a fake interview, or that this is not Vitaly Klitschko in live. Next slide. Yeah, so we would now like to talk about ongoing activities that are trying to increase transparency and combat misinformation. So, for example, Meta prohibits the use of its generative AI tools to create AI-generated political and advertisement. And they implemented a policy that mandates the disclosure of AI or digital modifications made to political, social, and also election-related advertisement on Instagram or Facebook. And you might already know that our governments worldwide is restricting AI-powered political ads, and especially the EU mandates identifying such commercials, including, for example, sponsors, coasts, and also targeted elections. So what is difficult about this is that besides the regulations, AI will still be used in an uncontrolled manner, and there's no controlling authority for its creation. That is why the consequences of using it for undesirable purposes are particularly important. It is therefore not just a question of end user behavior, so how we use the tools on our daily basis, but also a political one. So in the past, the EU has already looked out how the use of AI can be regulated, and Robert will now introduce you in that topic a little bit.
Yes, I will try to maybe make it rather short, because we said that we want to talk 45 minutes, and we will at least try to stick to that. So when it comes to artificial intelligence in the European Union, we have the European AI roadmap, and it is always the aim to have an approach for excellence and trust. And so the European Union really wants to focus on the human and to place the human in the center of the development of artificial intelligence in Europe. In June 2018, the European Union, especially the European Commission, established a high-level expert group for AI, and it should develop ethical guidelines for trustworthy AI and to provide also policy recommendations. Following this, we had also a coordinated plan to coordinate the development of AI in the single member states. And in 2020, we had the first white book of AI presenting the European approach to excellence and trust, which was followed by a public consultation to gather input from various stakeholders. Most recently, so in March this year, the European Parliament passed the first AI law, marking a significant step towards strengthening the regulation of AI in Europe. So, the guidelines for trustworthy AI by the high-level expert group said that AI systems should support human autonomy and decision-making as prescribed by the principle of respect for human autonomy. And therefore, the expert group set or defined 7 key requirements that AI systems should meet in order to be deemed trustworthy. They are human oversight and agency, technical robustness and safety, privacy and data governance, transparency, diversity as well as non-discrimination and fairness, societal and environmental well-being, and accountability. In the following, we will especially focus on human agency and oversight, where it says that AI systems should empower human beings, allowing them to make informed decisions and fostering the fundamental rights. At the same time, proper oversight mechanisms need to be ensured according to the guidelines, which can be achieved through 3 approaches, and they are called human on the loop, human in the loop, and human in command. Louisa will elaborate a little bit more on these approaches in the following, but please have in mind when we are talking about human in command, there are also several other approaches. Louisa will talk about human in the loop, human on the loop, but she will also talk about human in demand. So human in command within the ethic guidelines refers to the capability to oversee the overall activity of the AI system and the ability to decide when and how to use the system in any particular situation.
Okay, so let us now jump shortly in the following 3 concepts of human evaluation. Robert also already described them. We talk about human in the loop, human on the loop, and also about human on demand. The concepts show how the human is involved in AI interaction and in a little bit, so to say, in 3 a little bit different ways. Okay, next slide. So human in the loop means that the human is directly involved in the AI decision-making and generation process. So this means that he or she actively monitors, corrects, and intervene in the entire process. And I will give you a short example for this. So an example would be, an example would be personalized marketing emails. So the AI generates a first draft of marketing mails based on customer data, and then a marketing expert reviews the draft on ads, for example, and adds a personal touch and ensures that the email complies with company guidelines. And only after this human evaluation and maybe some adjustments were made, the email is sent to the customer. So we have here the pros that we have a high control of the output, but it is on the other side very time consuming. When it comes to human on the loop, that means that the human monitors the AI process from a distance and only intervenes when it's necessary. So the human is therefore not constantly involved in the process, but has more like a supervisory role. A good example is the creation of a daily newsletter. And then I create the newsletter based on different sources and current topics in the internet, for example. And then the AI automatically creates the content of the newsletter and sends it to the different subscribers. And the human role is only to check randomly the generated newsletter to ensure that no incorrect information is included. And if necessary, the human can make little adjustments. We have here the pros that this evaluation method enables more efficient and faster processing of especially large amounts of data. But on the other hand, it can, of course, increase the risk of errors or false content if the evaluation is not sufficient. Next slide. When it comes to human on-demand evaluation, it means that humans are used to perform tasks or make decisions that contribute to the evaluation and improvement of AI systems. So an example would be a large number of human testers are recruited to test a large language model, for example, and provide feedback to assess the quality and accuracy of the model. The human role is not only to generate realistic data in the model, that the model can learn from, but also to evaluate and rate the output of the trained model. This process is an iterative one, and in which the model is continuously tested and optimized. And to give you some application areas for human on-demand approaches, an example would be, for example, speech models or image and video recognition. These are the classic ones. So, okay, last but not least, we want to give you a few key takeaways when it comes to the human role in the human AI interaction. So, as an end user, we have mainly three opportunities to interact carefully with generative AI. So, first of all, we should always think about the selection of the AI tool we want to use. For that, we should always think about the generated output and set it in the context of our already existing knowledge. If we are not sure if something is right or wrong, we should double check the information, for example, just by Googling it. And then we should think about our purpose of use. I think it's obvious, but just to have a complete overview, let me say it again. Do not use AI to generate disinformation, deep fakes, or any kind of bad content. And also if it's just for fun, because the internet forgets nothing, like we all know, and you never know where content is saved. So this is also very important. And third, we should be more critical and careful when we consume media content. So please collect additional information, even if it takes a lot of time. But so not trust everything you see and always question the output. That's very important when interacting with generative AI content. Last slide. Okay, so when it comes to the part of AI development and improvement, you have a little more influence and more touch points with the AI. What you can see here is on this slide are just the touch points where human evaluation takes part or where the human is integrated in the AI generating process. We will go deeper into the single topics in the next workshops of this workshop series, but let me give you just a short overview. So when it comes to the data, you should always keep an eye on data quality and diversity. You will, like I said, learn that in the next workshop episode. And when it comes to the model selection, look for the right model for your application area and always look on which database the model was trained. You can often read that in kind of model descriptions in the internet. When you give input data, always give detailed context. We will learn that in the prompt engineering workshop. And you should definitely frame the context so that the output has the best possible quality. And at least, and we've already said that, double check and rate the output always. When you have a look on ChatGPT, for example, you have the opportunity to rate the output with thumbs up or thumbs down, or regenerate the answer. And you should definitely use that opportunity to help the model learn which output best answers your questions. Okay, next slide. Okay, so that was all for today. We hope that the workshop was kind of interesting for you and that we had some new information regarding Gen AI and the human-centered perspective on it. We hope that you will take part in the next episodes, as well as to jump deeper into the single topics we already mentioned shortly. And now we have some time to answer your questions if you have one and to discuss different topics regarding our presentation and the topics we addressed. So thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, are there any questions? Feel free to write in the chat or unmute your microphone.
No
Okay,
questions.
so if not, we do not have to prolong it in an artificial way. So in that case, thank you very much for listening. We hope that you learned something and enjoyed the presentation a little bit. And yeah, see you and hear from you maybe again in 2 weeks. Thank you.
Goodbye. Thanks for listening.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Bye bye.